good for that. Alright, cylinder heads are both on. Alright, so the next step is we're going to put on these gaskets. Head gaskets, I should say, and install the heads. Alright, so this rear cylinder is just sitting here, it's not actually on yet. This is the front cylinder. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put the head gasket back on. I just took it off for a second. This way. We're going to put our head gasket back on. Yeah. Thought about it, it's still guessed wrong. There we go. Okay. So your head gasket on, we're going to put our head on. Then we got to set the timing. I've already put the front cylinder at top dead center. We're not worried about the rear one just yet, but the front one is at top dead center. So we'll stick that on quick like money. And we can put our bolts in now too and tighten it down. Alright, so this one's a little bit different. I got the tightening procedures here for this cylinder head. And the first step is to do the M10 bolts, which are the bigger ones, like on the outside here. And so step A, tighten to 15 pound-feet, plus minus 1 pound-feet. And then step B is to go 180 degrees, give or take 5 degrees. So that's pretty different, but we'll go with it. So I'll just set my torque wrench here to 15 foot-pounds. There's 10. There's 15. And we'll tighten them. We got the pattern here too. We've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So here goes nothing. There's 1. There's 2. 3. 4. Now we're going to go 180 degrees. So I'm just going to switch out to a different, I'll leave it set, a different wrench. Alright, same order, and then just 180 degrees, so there goes nothing. Seems pretty tight, if I'm honest. There's 180. There. Torqued, I guess. So I can move on to the next step. Alright, so our next step now is we have to install our timing gears onto the camshafts. So this is a bit of a screw around, but there's these two lines on the sprocket that have to line up with the bottom here on the cylinder head, and then also there's a flat on the cam that has to be perpendicular. to the surface of the head, or the cover. So we have this tool that we made that is supposed to slide over that and lock onto it. So we'll give that a go and see what we can come up with. These are the small bolts for the cam sprocket. Can-Am calls for Loctite 243 on these, which I have right here, Loctite 243. All I could find in the store was 242. I had this anyway, but I don't know where I got it from. All I could find in the store here locally was 242, and I'm not sure what the difference is between 243 and 242, but we'll use the 243 since that's what it calls for. I have my plate here holding the cam perpendicular, or that slot on the cam perpendicular, with the surface of the top of the head where the valve cover sits. So we're ready now to try and get this sprocket on in such a way that these lines line up where we would like them. As you can see, we have the marks lined up relatively close, give or take, plus or minus a little bit. There's a little bit of wiggle room there, of course. You can see how these holes are ovaled, so there's a bit of room back and forth. We have our plate right here pressed down against the surface right here on either side. That locks in the cam in the right spot. So now we'll take our 3 bolts, put some Loctite on the threads, and drive them home. There's a torque spec for them. Not 100% sure what it is, but we'll figure it out here in a second. Alright, there's our front cylinder done, and we'll move on to the rear cylinder now. Alright, so for the rear cylinder, this being the front here, and this being the rear over there, we put this one at TDC first, and we put the cam gear on, like you just seen. Now for the rear, I've already torqued down the head and everything, and we turned the crank. We undid the cover here and stuck a 14mm Allen head in it and turned it until in here, which you can maybe see or maybe not, but there's a 2 mark on the flywheel and a little notch that you got to line up in there. So that sets allegedly TDC in here. So now that that's at TDC, we can set the timing on that cylinder the same way we did this one. So I'll get that done and I'll be right back with you guys. Alright guys, next thing we're going to want to do here is reinstall and tighten up our timing chain tensioners. Now the plunger, or whatever you want to call it, is still in here, so we just got to tighten it down, and we hit the correct turn that a little bit. So hopefully, as you guys can see there, I can rock the cam sprocket back and forth. You just want to tighten our plunger down until we can't do that anymore. There's no slack in it. This one was backed off quite a ways there. And once the slack is taken up, we'll go another about 1/8 of a turn, and we can put our spring back in. There is a torque spec for that, but it's just so low, there's no way. So make sure that the tang and the spring is in that slot. Same thing on this end. Push it in and get it started, and we can thread it in and torque it to spec. Alright guys, so the next mod we're going to do before this thing goes back in the frame of the machine is we are going to remove these factory rubber engine mounts and trans mounts, I guess, and we're going to replace them with Delrin bushings. So we have to remove these factory rubber ones first, and then we can install the new ones. I'm not sure exactly what's involved in removing these, but we'll see if this bushing goes straight through, and it does. So we'll try taking a small hammer and tapping that out. It doesn't go all the way through, actually. So here is the rubber ones, one on each side. I'll just grab replacements here. Alright, here's the Delrin one. It's just like a hard plastic. Same basic size and shape. Come on, focus. Same basic size and shape as the factory ones. So we'll pop those in. I'll just repeat the same procedure on the front one, which is up under there. Well, I was hoping there's some kind of movie light thing on this, but there isn't. But check out this one. I didn't really mangle it putting it in, or taking it out I should say. But it seems like it's in pretty rough shape. Come on, focus. Come on. Yeah. So I don't know what's up with that, but we're replacing it anyway. So it should have the lip on it, I would think. Same as the other ones had, but that was all torn off of it. So anyway, we'll put the plastic ones in and go. Alright guys, so the last thing we're going to do here to this engine before we put it in the bike is install this Can-Am oil pressure shim from Warranty Killer Performance. There's not a whole lot to it. It's just like a washer. I'm sure you could use an actual washer if you wanted to. The dimensions on it are about 18.85 or so, I might as well call it OD. There's a little hole in the center, call that 4¼ millimeters, and thickness wise is the critical one. It is bang on 4.75 millimeters, which is 187 thou. So anyways, to install this we have to remove this cover, which I've already loosened off, or this, well yeah, it is a cover. It's just an Allen head bolt that holds it in. That's right below your magneto cover. Actually it's in your magneto cover. So you remove this plug like so. That was a 10 mil 10 mil Allen head. Yeah, I gotta find something to fish that out. Wish I could find a shorter screwdriver. I could get a pick, but I don't want to get up. Oh, I'm gonna have to. Yep. Too painful, I can only do that so many times. Alright. Here's the little spring that's inside of it. Not sure. There's no instructions with it. I mean, the spring comes off like that. It seats on that nice. This hole in the center seems like it's made for that, but then your spring will sit kind of stupid like that. So that doesn't seem really that right to me. So I would say it goes like this. This here is that plunger that was in there. this spring goes in there. I'd say it stays like that, and this spring sits, or this spacer sits on the back like that. I would say that's how I'm going to put it anyway. So all that stuff can just go back in there, and we'll stick our spacer in there. And I'm actually going to pull out a new copper washer for that. I'm pretty sure I've got one. That was an O-ring. There we go, I got it that time. The copper washer wasn't included in the kit. It just happened to be included with that, what do you call it? Engine gasket set. So we'll stick that on. Start the threads on that, and we can tighten it down. So that's actually pretty easy to install. You could easily do that without having the engine out of the frame. That'll come out no problem, even with the engine in the frame. So that's supposed to add, 10 or 15 pounds of oil pressure to the system, so there's nothing wrong with that. A little bit of extra oil pressure is a good thing. Apparently, it's supposed to help with the it's supposed to help with the oiling of certain areas of the engine, like the PTO bearing, stuff like that. So, especially at idle. I guess at wide open you're not going to have much trouble regardless, but so I thought it was a good mod to add. I don't think it cost much more than $10 or something like that. And if you guys had a few washers that were that same size approximately, you could probably add them pretty cheaper than that. But I was adding some other, or ordering some other stuff from Warranty Killer, and I figured I might as well add that to the list too. Which reminds me, Warranty Killer, when I bought those valve covers for them, I bought the valve covers, I bought the valve covers, I bought that oil pressure shim, and I bought the motor mounts. I think was the three things I bought. I looked for the water necks up here, but they didn't have those then, or I didn't miss them or something. But their prices on the motor mounts was pretty good. I think these were $85, which, well, it is what it is. They're the only company that offers the Delrin mounts versus the aluminum. I didn't want aluminum. I wanted some sort of plastic, whether it be Delrin or polyurethane or something like that. I figured aluminum or brass would be too harsh. you get too much vibration in your handlebars and stuff. So that's what I wanted there. The valve covers, nobody else had them except for Mr. RPM, and I don't buy parts from him, so that wasn't an option. He wanted $130 to ship them anyway, so that was out of the question. But yeah, they didn't include the bolts. They were supposed to be included. The guy told me they were shipping them out right away. When I did order them, they seemed like the package got lost when I ordered all the parts originally. And they were ready right away, like a week or two later, to send me a whole new package again. So I gotta say, their prices on the valve covers were well, they're a lot more than the other companies, but the customer service, as far as I'm concerned, was excellent. So I'd rather pay twice as much for the valve covers than have to deal with someone like Mr. RPM. So yeah, I'm just going to throw this cover back on, and then we're going to start chucking this engine back in the frame. I don't think I'm going to show any of that, putting it back together. We're just going to do the engine video, which is done now. So the next time you see the Renegade, it's going to be probably running, hopefully. I might do a video when I'm tuning it or something like that, or at the very least an idle video once I get the cams in. So anyway guys, thanks for sticking with me through this whole motor rebuild, I guess. And sorry it took so long to get the videos back up. I know it's been a long time now since I did the first part of this series, but yeah, thanks for your patience, I guess, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Alright, I have the engine sitting here with the valve covers on it. And I also have the transmission here. We just put some fresh oil in the transmission. Now we're going to bring these two together and put the bolts in so that they are back as one unit, just like how they come out of the machine. It's just a matter of lining up the bolts and bringing it together. There is four, well actually there's studs coming out of the motor, and there's 4 nuts that's got to go on it. Bit hard to get together, but no big deal. I'm actually going to put a little bit of Loctite on those. It's not going to hurt anything, so why not? Just got to find out what I do with it. Hello? Yep. Yep. Not too bad. And you? Yeah. Yep. 100. 109 or 190? Okay. If 109 is the limit, is the minimum, then you can do that. Okay. Yep. Alright.